Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Andrew with the Pride Investigator Advice podcast. Kind of keeping my voice down. It's it's like 12 a.m. Just finished the podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about drones. Hold on, let me go get one. Okay, I'm back. We're going to be talking about drones. No, you can't use these for surveillance. And if they're even practical. So give it a listen, and hope you like it. And I'm going to be referencing some articles, and there'll be all kinds of links and posts in the article itself for this article, and hope you enjoy it. Hey everybody, welcome to another Private Investigator Advice podcast. This is going to be episode 67, and in this episode we're going to be talking about drones and private investigators and my general thoughts on that and some things in particular on it. But before we get into that, let's just check in with you guys. It's been a while, and I think it's necessary to kind of tell you what's been going on. So summer's over. I don't even remember when the last time I did a podcast was. It looks like the last time I posted a podcast was July. So it's been a couple months, and I've been just trying to take care of things at home and things like that, and had some things in the hopper that I've been just kind of waiting to have a good time to talk about. And so, what's sad is like when you take breaks from, when I take a break from this kind of stuff, I fall behind quickly on like what's relevant and what's happening. And so I'm going to be playing some catch up for a little while. I was looking at some of my my stats, kind of like how much writing I did in the past for the blog and things like that. And what I realized is I haven't hardly written anything this year. I was writing over 50 articles a year, and I'm just struggling this year to get that done. So I'm going to try to finish strong this year and put out a good ending to the year. So it's almost over. It's what is it, September, October, November. It's only got like 4 months to really start sharing more stuff on here. So anyways, I had a great summer so far. It's really kind of coming to an end. School's starting, and when school starts, that's just kind of like the cue that it's over. And so kids are back in school, and just no more. I mean, we're running out of things to do like summer stuff. So we kind of getting into the winter mode. We have our kind of winter things that we do every year. And this year I bought all kinds of memberships to like museums and stuff, and the car museum and the glass museum, I don't know, whatever. So now we have things to do, and it won't cost us a whole lot of money in the winter, besides the winter stuff. But anyways, so with that being said, I don't know if you guys have heard, I was really proud of it. The article I wrote a long time ago about choosing a surveillance vehicle got republished and made the cover of PI Magazine, which is, I think, like the only real physical magazine that private investigators have. And I mean, it's a good magazine. I mean, they post a lot of great articles. Some of the other investigators that wrote about surveillance and things like that in there are really 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 know what they're talking about. And they're around the YouTube and they do all kinds of different things online and stuff. But really intelligent investigators writing for that magazine, and you should definitely just check it out. At the very least, just go by the August episode or the summer episode magazine from PI Magazine, and just take a look at it if you haven't already. I don't get anything extra because you buy the magazine, the surveillance magazine, but at least take a look at some of the articles and see if that's something you'd be interested in, maybe subscribing to. I'm probably going to end up subscribing myself. Once I knew that I made the cover, I think I bought like 10 of them because I'm just that's who I am. That's the kind of guy I am. So I'm going to end up sending them to like my dad and my mom and stuff, and it was just something cool. And then Jimmy Meese or Mess, the owner of PI Magazine, was on the American what was it called, the American Private Investigator podcast, and so then they talked about basically that issue of the magazine, and I got a few mentions in there. I was kind of excited about that as well. And they talked about my article, and then they talked about surveillance in general. So if you get a chance, check out the August episode of the American Private Investigator podcast. I don't know if you guys knew that was out there, but that's another podcast that's out there. Again, smart people. I mean, they're not steering anybody in the wrong direction in their podcast. Definitely a good podcast to listen to. What else we got going on? So I guess we'll just kind of skip into... one more thing. And just because it's been on my mind. I'm trying to make these videos a little more entertaining. I don't know that... Just in general, that private investigators, we don't spend a lot of time with it. Usually anybody who puts anything on YouTube or creates anything, it's just about kind of like just giving you value, and which is fine. But even with value, just, the value of content, sometimes just in general, we can be kind of, boring. So I am trying to jive them up a little bit. I'm trying to learn a bit about video editing more. I mean, not in the sense of like for PI videos, like, you do a surveillance video and you cut it and whatever, make it for your client. But I mean like, entertaining kind of cuts where it just is more entertaining. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. If it doesn't go well, I'm sure you'll let me know. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about drones. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about drones is because it's just one of those things. I mean, when I first started hearing drones and private investigator kind of in the same breath, it just didn't make sense to me. At least not yet. Okay, just with the laws that are out there and the way surveillance is in general, it just kind of struck a chord with me. And so. I didn't even want to do any research. I didn't want to even read about it. I just wanted to be, usually I'm the type of guy who just has an opinion about something, and I just pretty much say what I'm feeling. And so I had to kind of pull back on that a little bit. There's still a little bit of that in this podcast and in the article that I wrote for this, which I'm still looking at, tweaking, but it just bugged me. So... Generally speaking, I think that right now, drones. I mean, they're building them fast, and they're building them better and better and better all the time, which is awesome. And they're expensive, and they're high tech, and they do these amazing things. But typically, most of them don't even last more than like 15 or 20 minutes in the air. That's kind of the max, no matter how awesome they are. And I'm sure there's some that maybe do more, but at the moment, they're limited. And I think the majority of people that are using them right now are people, just hobbyists, the ones that like to fly stuff. And the law enforcement, I know they're dabbling with it. Up here in Seattle, they tried to bring that program on, and they ended up not going with it. And I think, if I remember correctly, and I read the article somewhere, I'll have to post it in there maybe if I can remember, Seattle ended up selling these, or giving these drones, I think it was to Los Angeles PD or something to that effect. And then photography, it's a really big thing, getting just general photographs, awesome photographs that normal people couldn't get before without like flying in a helicopter or something like that. And then movie making, that's happening a lot, using, more high-end drones. And then I've heard a lot of in real estate, they're finding ways, and that's kind of part of photography, but, photographing a property or, taking video of it inside the home, kind of just doing stuff that people aren't used to seeing, and then that kind of gives people the edge in real estate. And so that's what I mostly saw it for. But then, everybody wants to give these drones a bad name right off the bat, and there's some reason for that, right? I mean, there's been some stupid things in the news, but in fact, just recently, and I don't have the article, but some guy got in trouble because there was a drone flying over his house, and I think his daughter was in the backyard, and it was just kind of sticking around too long in his vicinity, and I think he shot out of the air, and I think he got arrested. I think that was the case. And these things are going to happen. And so anyways, but there's this one guy I saw on YouTube, and I'm going to play a clip for you. I don't know how long. It might go a minute or 2 minutes. Just be prepared. I don't think you'll be bored. This is an attorney out of New York. His name is Jerry Oginski, I believe. And he's got an amazing presence. I mean, I think he could probably sell you anything. Just listen to it. Hopefully, I have the video posted up here on the. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube on the video, if not, that's just pretty much how you're gonna have to see it, unless you Google it yourself or YouTube it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this, and hopefully the sound works perfect here.
The defense wants to catch you on video doing those activities you claim you couldn't do. What if the defense hires a private investigator who now uses a remote-controlled motorized drone to catch you doing those activities you claim you couldn't do? Is that creepy? Is that an invasion of your privacy? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some remarkable information. I am Jerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law in the state of New York. The defense wants to catch you in the act of doing those activities you claim you couldn't do. They want to lock you in and destroy your testimony. Why? Because you will have testified during your deposition, pretrial question and answer session, about what you can and can no longer do concerning the injuries that you have. The defense would love nothing more than to catch you on video doing those activities like skiing, hiking, mountain climbing, which you claimed you couldn't do. Well, guess what? What if they hire a private investigator, which they do all the time, who now, instead of using a regular video camera, uses a remote-controlled drone to follow you as you go about your daily activities? And from time to time, you see this up in the air, circling around. Is that an invasion of your privacy? I don't think there's any case law on this yet, because these motorized drones are relatively new, especially in the use of these types of civil lawsuits. But now, if a private investigator uses a motorized type drone, and now, let's say, uses it to go up to your bedroom window on a second floor of your home, and all of a sudden you're in your home watching TV, and you look outside the window and you see this motorized drone hovering outside your window. Is that an invasion of your privacy? Not only is that creepy, but my opinion is, yes, that's a clear invasion of privacy.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I think you get my point. That's... the guy's using a perfect example, or at least a perfect reason for someone to give him a call and hire him. That's an invasion of privacy, whether you have a drone or not. When you're up into somebody's window, you don't need a drone for that, right? I just look at it like it's just fear mongering. It's just I just can't imagine any competent investigator taking a drone, putting it up to your window. I can't right now, just with the amount of money it costs and the amount of time it takes to put something like that together, I can't think of many reasons or case uses. And it just, maybe because I just don't run into too many assignments that would require that, for them to use a drone. It just doesn't make any sense to me right now. And again, maybe there's some investigator out there going, "Hey, I've got 10 reasons to use one, and I use one all the time." Oh, email me, man. Let me know what these are. We'll revisit this whole podcast again. But so one of the things that really caught my eye, it might have been, I don't know, it was like 5 months ago. It was a LinkedIn thing that I was on LinkedIn. And somebody in one of the things I follow was talking about drones. It was talking about this article in particular. And the article is out of the BBC, bbc.com. I'll put a link to it in there. It says, "The private investigator who spies using drones." Oh, come with me. Come with me down this path, because it is, I think it's a little ridiculous. And I'll I'll let you read the article yourself, but I'm going to cherry pick some of these things out of here real quick because I can. And so just so you know, like I love gadgets. Okay, I'm still a kid at heart. I raced RC cars. When I was a kid, my first RC car was an RC10. That was like the best out there, and at the time, and then I lost it, or I don't know what the heck happened to it, and whatever, I got to be an adult, and I've got more money than I did when I was a little kid, and I buy little things for my kids. Like I might have mentioned this before. I think the first thing I got was this little helicopter here. This was $20 on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in there, but it's a great starter helicopter for anybody. It's only for indoors. You can't take it outdoors. It'll blow away. It's just too light. But it's got little stabilizers so it doesn't go crazy on you, and it's the perfect. Actually, this one's already broken. It's one of the. It's actually very durable. We played with this with the kids for a long time. Banged it all around the house, and the thing just kept going. These things last like 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, maybe long enough to where you get kind of bored of it, and then you want to just put it in charge for a while. But anyways, $20, right? So the kids, my son could do this. He was like 5 when he started messing with these, and my daughter was a few years older than that. Anyways, $20, right? And so I wanted to get the drone started coming out, and I couldn't afford anything major at the time, and I bought this. Where the heck's that? I bought this Traxxas. What is it? A QR1. It's a quadcopter. I saw some videos on it. I trusted the Traxxas brand, and so I went ahead and bought it. It had it was a couple batteries came with it, a charger. I bought it for $90. I don't know if you can see that here. Probably not. Anyways, $90. You can buy cheaper versions of this on Amazon. I found out later. But anyways, so how it looks big, right? It looks all big on here. It's not. It's not that big. Let me show you how big it is. And you guys are gonna have to watch the video. So here it is right here. It's I can pretty much fit in the palm of my hand. And all the videos that I saw on this, right? A lot of enthusiasts, a lot of hobbyists, a lot of professional drone users always say, "Hey, buy something small, get used to it, get practice with it." So I did. I finally opened it up. I told my son, "All right, let's mess around with this thing. Let's figure out how to fly a quadcopter, a drone, if you will." And I think it lasted about 6 minutes or 10 minutes or so. Somehow I broke it. I don't know. It wouldn't come up in the air anymore, and very difficult to fly. I wouldn't recommend this for a first-time flyer or anybody trying to use. This isn't the one that's going to get you there. At least I wouldn't spend that much money to learn. I wouldn't spend this much. Anyways, so that was the Traxxas QR1. Okay. And then I bought the... and I haven't used it yet. We'll do a review down the road. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I have a pile of things I haven't opened that need to be reviewed. My wife's gonna kill me. Anyways, so this is the X5 C1 drone copter thing here. It's got an HD camera on the bottom that it comes with it. I think you need to have your own memory card. I've actually seen some people fly this, and I think this will probably be a better starter for me than the little ones. So anyways, when we get there, you'll probably see me destroy this and waste my money on it. I can't remember how much. I think this was like 70. Don't quote me. I didn't look it up before the podcast. Okay, so that's that, right? So that's where I'm at. This is the next one. This is the next one I'm going to play with. And listen, I've been around, like I said, RC stuff for a while. I'm not totally, I'm not a dummy to it. I've got the hand-eye coordinations, though I will say quadcopters are hard to mess with. So anyway, so I come across this BBC article, and it talks about this private investigator in California, I believe. The private investigator is Chris Wright. It might be a woman. I'm not quite sure. Anyways, not that it matters. So in this article that what this lady wrote drives me nuts. Written by Rose Evelyneth back in March of 2015. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to cherry pick quotes here. It says, I'm sorry. It says, this is the guy, right? So, or the woman, or the private investigator says that he states she never pilots the drones and usually recruits some college kids or high school age kids who are gamers. This woman hires non-private investigators supposedly to fly these drones. The private investigator, Chris Wright, says she also uses small off-road vehicles and identifies them as Roombas on steroids. Roomba, if you're not familiar with that, if I'm correct, I believe it's a little motorized vacuum for your house. And just so you know, I can already tell that this person doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to RC vehicles. And again, I'm no professional, but again, I know enough to know enough, right? So I'm going to pull this up for you, right? This is a Traxxas Slash. This is like I think like $250, ready to run. It's got a brush motor. It's pretty durable, and it has a name. It's called a Slash. It's called okay, and they go pretty fast, and they're electric, and they have batteries. And I would never identify it as a Roomba. They usually identify them as SC10. I think short course trucks. They've been out for a couple of years, and that's one of the larger RC cars that isn't gas powered. Anyways, so I'm reading this article, and I just see red flags. I'm seeing bull crap. I see a bunch of things that just tell me that somebody's not telling the whole truth here. It just, I feel a lot of BS going on here. So anyways, and who would drive an SC10 or a short course vehicle, RC car, Roomba on steroids, whatever you want to call it? Who would drive that around and assume that nobody would notice that with any type of video? I mean, just in general, everybody is drawn to one of these things when you drive it around. Everybody likes RC cars. It's not invisible. Anyways. So here's the exact quote. Wright doesn't pilot the drones herself, so I try to hire gamers. I go to colleges and high schools and try to find out who the geeks are, and then I hire them. She said that her pilots are more skilled than she ever would ever be. And these kids like the challenge. Some of them are working towards their own private investigator licenses, and their hours piloting the little devices can count towards their certification. In parentheses, it says none of Wright's, this private investigator that's being quoted here, none of Wright's gamer pilots were willing to talk for this article. And then it says in quotes, they're introverts, she told me, not shy introverts. I think they're invisible and they don't exist, and that's why they couldn't talk. But that's just me. Anyways, so yeah, one of my main contentions with this article, which is, it's just kind of like, I think BBC's kind of a reputable place. I don't know whether to blame the writer, the one who interviewed this investigator, or the investigator themselves. I don't know. So one of the things that bothered me was, it says she recruited high school. Okay, maybe a minor, maybe 18, but maybe a minor. Which in California, I don't even think you can have anybody licensed under the age of 18. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure some California investigators would back me up on that. Anyways, you're letting these individuals that I'm sure they can be licensed under you if you hire them, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems very fishy to me that you just let some random person participate in an investigation. So Then it says, the private investigator then says this, and if you lose a drone, during a mission, you're out a good chunk of your budget, but it can be worth it because the cases in some cases, they're useful. Indeed, it says. I think, again, I'll post the article. You read the article, my article, their article. You make your own decisions. But like I said, who are the ones that this is being used for? I think real estate, photographers, making movies. Usually, the only people have legitimate, reasons to use these things. The hobbyist, man, these hobbyists are hardcore. They love these things. Just you can find any YouTube channel, just search, drones, and you're liable to find somebody who just constantly tests these things, plays around with them. Some people build them themselves. Really, really smart guys who are, and gals who are able to use these things, very well. Anyway, so, one of the major things, that we're going to run into with these drones is a privacy issue. And there's always this general rule that I've always followed, and it's always kept me out of trouble. And there's a couple, actually. When I'm doing surveillance, I never zoom in when our front door's open. I always try to keep this view as if it was anybody passing by, so it was the eye, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to zoom inside someone's home. I never zoom in windows, whether, like, I don't mean like go up to the window and look in it. I mean like I'm, 5 blocks away. I don't zoom all the way into any window, whether it's open or closed, and roll film or anything like that. This doesn't happen. And even if the garage door is open, there's been some gray area there in regards to expectation of privacy. I've always kind of tried to keep a little bit zoomed out. But I mean, there's been some, debate on whether there's an expectation of privacy because it's in their home. But if you leave your garage door wide open, anybody can see you walking by from quite a, distance. So there's only so much expectation. And so what was some of the rules were, just line of sight. And so, if you were climbing a tree to view into someone's backyard, then that wasn't, or plain view, that wasn't plain view. It has to be something that anybody, normal person, would be walking by and being able to do and see. So if someone's house was located down here and there was a street that went up and you could park on that street and look down, then that was plain view for anybody that lived up there. It was public view. You can look right down the yard, then fine. Then maybe you can videotape. But that's just always what I've kind of went by. So when you have these drones, you take away that that plain view of somebody, because now you're doing something, that takes it away from that. You're up in the air now. Now that's not a plain view for everybody. Now only you can see this aerial view, and that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people. And I don't claim to know all the laws on that, but this is just a general common sense thing. And so so I guess you would ask. So, am I for private investigators being able to use drones? Yeah, I actually am. At least having the right to use it, and if they've got to make laws surrounding it, great. I don't want the private investigation community to be outlawed before we even know where this technology is going to go, and the capabilities or what they can possibly do with these things to, govern them, in the sense, I just don't know what's going to happen. So you just don't want to take the rights away from private investigators when, you don't know where this technology is going to be 5 years from now, and the capabilities and what's going to happen. You just don't want to outlaw them, because when something gets taken away, it's really hard to get it back. And I don't want that to happen to our industry. Do I think private investigators should be using them for surveillance? I don't know what particular. I mean, there's some examples in this article that you'll read. I call BS. I call nonsense. If these things are only in the air for 15 minutes, it's hard enough to do surveillance in a car on foot. It's hard not be, not be noticed. You put a drone in the air. Tell me who's not going to see that. I mean, seriously, let's just get serious. So, I think one of the worst things you could do in surveillance, and not for every scenario, but for every scenario that I'm thinking of in my head, I would never use a drone. It's just, there's just too much going on. Just pulling out a regular camera and getting decent videos is hard enough. Then to try to fiddle with a drone and try to bring it back to yourself, and how much did you spend on that, and did you break it? Okay, well, you're out $1,000. I mean, let's just stop the madness, people. Right now, as I see it now, I don't think there's a practical application just yet for the everyday private investigator, for the everyday surveillance investigation. It's not practical, and most things that we want to see aerial wise, we got Google Maps for. It won't be live, but it'll be darn close. It's pretty accurate at what a certain area is going to look like. Maybe not what the vehicles are there, or now, you know what I mean? But it's going to be enough for what we need right now. Anyways, we have, there's still privacy. Even if we want to investigate things, doesn't mean we have the right to invade anybody's privacy. So with that being said, yeah, I won't be using a drone at the moment to be doing surveillance. I'll be enjoying having fun movie making for you guys and making interesting videos for the private investigator community. And me and my son and my daughter will be hopefully figuring this thing out and enjoying it. I just saw a video the other day where I think it was like the XJ1 or some phantom drone. I don't know. But this drone was literally stabilized through by connecting with 7 or 8 satellites that would help them keep it in one spot and not drift, which I just think that was cool. I mean, this does not connect to satellites, I can assure you. So anyways, so listen, that's my drone rant. And I would really like to hear your thoughts on it. You can go to the Private Investigator Advice website, and it'll be up there. The article will be up there, and you can definitely comment about it in the comments. I'm sure it'll post to Facebook. Comment there. I want to hear your thoughts on it because I want to dig into this a bit more. There are, there's a lot of uses for it. If there's some use that I didn't mention, tell me what you're using it for. If you're a Private Investigator, if you're not, if there's something and you're just the everyday Joe using it for something else that I didn't mention, let me know. I'm interested because I've only heard and seen, used for a few things. And in the YouTube video, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and definitely looking forward to your comments in there as well. So before I end today, because I miss you guys so much, I want to ask if you're enjoying the podcast, go to iTunes, find the podcast in iTunes, and give it a review. I would really appreciate that. Helps more people find the podcast. And I really appreciate that very much. And again, if you guys have questions, you guys want something answered, definitely let me know. I don't get to everything right away, but whenever I get a comment or a question, it always kind of gets me thinking about either whatever, it might be that question itself, or maybe an extension of that question to answer or add or put something in the podcast. So anyways, guys, my throat's getting dry. I got a jam. Just thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And just enjoy you guys just kind of sticking with me throughout the years here. And again, I'll talk to you soon.